Cheers, Ivana.
Let's start.
Cheers.
Hi everyone.
Cheers.
Hi. I'm going to start anyway.
So we have a new moderator. We just finished her work today. So
Thanks for waiting.
first of all, welcome once again to this fantastic festival. Please come closer because first of all you all know each other, so this concept of a panel for broader audience is falling to pieces at the beginning. So as you are all friends and you know each other or know of each other's work, I will change the concept as we're sitting here, and I'll make it also a little bit personal and professional. So I'll start egoistically with me. I've been a foreign correspondent all my life, a journalist going through wars, and wherever I went, I always looked at I always say writings on the wall, because be it the wall in Bethlehem that divides current zone of conflict, be it streets of New York becoming zones of conflict again in our history concerning the situation. I looked at street art from this perspective. But knowing a lot of people from here as Slaven and meeting some of the artists in the world, I understood that as in every art, so in street art also you have this gender issues, subjects, claiming the territories, claiming the place in the art. So when Slaven called me to moderate this, even though I'm not a street art person, I said, okay, I'll try. And then I felt like the same energy coming from Aiko making her piece at the moment, and from streets of Belgrade that are boiling at the moment. So I'm very happy again to say big welcome to Marta Cooper, Nika Kramer, Lady Aiko, TKV and Zmaja today. Teja Jurišić unfortunately is not with us. And my first question will be to the whole panel, as you all come from different geographies, different age and spaces. What would you say today is like the biggest challenge for all of you in your work? Marta, we can start with you. What is different, today than it was when you started?
Well, my work has actually gotten easier because I'm better known now and I'm being asked to do things. Whereas before, I was always having to make elaborate proposals. I mean, a lot of people know the book Subway Art, but we made maybe 20 proposals to book publishers and all rejected before we got it published. Now, one thing, you asked me what are my challenges, this is the opposite of that. The iPhone and Instagram allows me to basically publish my own work, to be able to get it out there. And often, if I do have an idea, I have direct lines of communication to people who can help me. Like Nika and I did a book about B-girls, and we were easily able to find a publisher about girls who break dance, and because we knew publishers. So, I think my challenges are less today.
So I'll jump then to the next generation from this geography who are starting. Do you feel that you're well off today being a street artist from this region?
Well, I guess both of us have different levels of experience, or she has much more experience than me, so she might have a different take. Personally, I think one thing for newer generations of street artists is that we're very much able to enter the street art scene a lot quicker because of Instagram and because of general overall connectedness or connection that's become a lot easier with social media. On the other hand, I think there's like with any market that becomes trendy and like popular, it tends to get oversaturated. So while you are able to enter the scene relatively quickly, it's a question of how do you stand out in a sea full of people who are doing things like you, like, and very well. It's not like back when you were starting, you were like the first one and things like that. Now there's so many people, and it's like, how do you stand out amongst all of these artists? So in a way, it's like more accessible, but it's also there's still like challenges in a different way.
And for Maya, is being a female street artist from this region, even though there is accessibility that you're all describing, different than being a street artist from New York, male or female? Sasha.
For me? I think there is. I think it's much more difficult to be a street artist or graffiti artist, or call it like you want it, from this region. And sometimes it feels that there is not enough visibility, and you kind of, I was always just happy to paint, I guess. And like, I know there's a lot of like fuss and huss about like being super famous or getting recognized or whatever. But at the end of the day, I think the most important thing is that you actually love what you do, like, because if it turns just into a job or just into this thing that you have to chase, then it's kind of like spoiled. And I don't know, like when I started in 2004, and I was the only girl who painted at the time, like painted. I do stencils, I'm a stencil artist, so it was different for me because I felt like I was alone, but that changed, so for the better in that sense. So I don't know, there's a lot of different things, but in terms of like geopolitic thing, I think it is a little bit more difficult to be from Balkans.
Aiko, as we are the same age, yes, we are. I wanted to ask you about, I don't know how to formulate it, being someone who has this gentleness in your expression, as I was seeing this, which really, affects every person watching it on like the first hit. What did you felt yourself that you brought into street art in your aesthetics and doing really, really important things?
Well, I'm glad you said it's gentle, but in the beginning I was really angry. I was upsetting, and I was
The
hoping...
gentle expression can be, anger hidden.
Like when I came to New York, I didn't have any opportunity. I wasn't able to speak this language. I didn't know anybody, so it was hard for me to become someone, to do something, and graffiti helped me a lot. But at the same time, we didn't have so many female in this scene, so I had to do a lot of stuff by myself, and also like boys. Nowadays, boys are trying to carry me and try to put me in a pedestal, which is awesome. But at the time, I was the girl who carried their paints, watch them all night, so that they can paint. And guys used to tell me, "Oh, girl cannot paint." Especially I'm Asian. Asian girls supposed to go back to Asia and do something different. So I was stubborn and angry, like I'm gonna paint, fuck you all. That was the statement. So I used my gentleness to teach people that girls can paint, no matter who you are, whatever you're from. I think art can be for everyone, So that was my big theme, and that was my challenge to continue last 30 years, to tell everyone that art is for everyone.
Nika, looking from your eye, is this fuck-offness which Aiko described, that she felt that she needs to express, showing that there is a place for her in her triple identities that she just described. Is it something that you see in the hands of female street art? Is there something different coming from their side to your side of the eye when you look female art than the male art, or is just art?
I'm confused. I don't think I understand the question.
So
if
what
I
do you
see something
different in female street art than male street art that you look from your side of the lens?
I think it depends, because there's not really female street art and male street art, because there is like different artists. I think that girls mostly have it harder to make their way. I mean, not only in like street art or graffiti, I think in many. You must have also realized that in your job, that you as a female have like to fight for that place. Like we as photographers, I mean, Marty still gets elbowed out of the way sometimes by male photographers who just come and they just push her aside, and then she's like this, and then they're, well, I'm working. And then she's like, well, I'm working too. Because they think, you know, this little lady there, she's just taking some snaps. And was the same for me. I became a Red Bull photographer early on in my photography career, and most of the jobs did go to male photographers because the people giving the jobs away were guys, and you know, there was this buddy thing going on. But since I knew my way around breakdance, I made it to be a breakdance photographer for Red Bull. But like when I became a Red Bull photographer, they had a website, redphotography.com, and they introduced 100 of their photographers worldwide, and 2 of them were girls. So it is, and when you go to like a photography fair, most of the people there are women, but when you like figure out how many women actually work in like sports photography or journalism, it's way more men, and you have to fight a little harder to get there, I think.
Is there some kind of mentorship between yourselves? Because in journalism, I know that we really embrace young colleagues when they come in. Especially today, you've mentioned social media. You can see someone from the other side of the world. You know, in New York, people were coming. But concerning your position in this world, do they reach out to you?
Sometimes, but I mean, for example, I gave Nika her first camera. Nika wasn't a photographer.
He made me.
Because I saw that she had taken some pictures and they were really good, and I'm like, here, you can. I gave her an old camera.
But she wasn't that old. She bought a new version and she gave me the one and said, go be a photographer.
I don't have any regular mentorship programs going that I'm in, but I do, if I have a chance to speak with young female photographers, I always try to be supportive.
Okay. Aiko, did they reach out to you now?
Well, I want to say like Martha is my mentor. I met Martha in 2006. It was a really like bad era for me. Just like I was being homeless and my visa was running out. So I was deciding if I should stay in New York or going back to Japan or keep painting or do something else. And I met Martha at some show in New York, and we started becoming really good friends. And she started introducing me all of nice like subway artists, legends like Futura Days, also like Charlie Ahan and Henry's and everyone. And everyone told me that Aiko, you must stay in New York and keep doing your art, even Jeffrey Deitch. And Martha and everyone write a nice letter to immigration. I think I was the only and first graffiti street artist who got the green card because of that. And ever since, I feel like Martha and everybody is my family, and this graffiti thing is like being a temple, and I work hard for everyone. So this is happening to not just me, like Maya and everyone is like big family, you know, mentorship or sisterhood or brotherhood. It's like a whole family.
I want to
Please
add,
do.
yes, I have written a lot of immigration. For women who have asked me.
Are your colleagues, some of them are here, aware of how much you needed to struggle more? We heard Aiko stories on multiple layers, but you know, it's not easy to go out in the street and own it, because we saw how some of them treated her. So how was it for two of you? Who wants to start?
Well, I kind of wanted to add as well, like with the family thing and mentorship, like the first jam that I ever painted at was her jam. Like that's literally how we met, because I kind of had a late start. I'm a late bloomer in this world. So like my first jam was in 2022, and she invited me to it, and I had basically no prior experience, or a little bit. But it was an all-girls jam, which was, I think, like the perfect place for me to start, because it was like a very safe space, you know, coming into a community of girls who could, you know, show me the ropes and like tell me about their experiences, which have not been easy, you know, especially painting with, you know, people like her who have been painting for almost 20 years and stuff like that. Like, it was a really incredible experience. But you asked about, what was the question again?
The question was basically, are your male colleagues aware
Oh,
about?
yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like I can't speak about before. I think people are more aware now, but I also think it's something that's really hard to describe, because on one hand, I also don't want to be like a statistic in a way. I don't want to be invited places because I'm a woman, you know, just to fill out a statistic. I want to be invited because I'm good, like if they think I'm good. But on the other hand, it's like, I think it's really important to have like places that are pushing females to become as the best they can be, you know? And I think maybe it's a really hard thing to describe, the fear that you feel that's like kind of irrational, but I guess maybe it has some rational roots. The first time you show up to like a jam where it's all guys, even though it's like really like friendly people and nice, you have this like imposter syndrome, or you're not one of the dudes or whatever, and like you don't want to be one of the dudes, but you just want to like coexist, and it's like a fear that is inexplicable. Like, and you kind of have to get over it. You have to learn how to swim amongst people that will never fully understand you, you know? And again, I'm not saying this is like, it's not something that it's not something that you can really easily explain. And so having, you know, support systems like girls who have painted before you, who can understand that fear and understand that moment of like showing up to the wall and painting for the first time, like it's really important, because I don't know, I have lovely male like street art colleagues, of course, and people who have supported me a lot, but it's like, it's just something that's really hard to describe even to them, even with their support, of course.
Sashka.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that that they are aware, like you have really, I mean, I wouldn't generalize like men, like, or all graffiti writers who are men. I would say that people choose to be more or less aware and choose to kind of, you know, sympathize, not sympathize, it's not a good word, like, but to try to understand you and try to support you. I mean, I know Slaven for what, like a lot of years, like, you know, and there was always support between us, but I mean, when you look at overall, there is always a struggle, like, you know, and there is always something that you have to grow like a thick skin to kind of endure all of it and not take it too personally in a way. And sometimes you get the hate that you don't deserve just because you're a girl or woman, and that you have to navigate all of that. But after a while, you just have to own it, as you said it, and you have to accept that you are who you are, and people need to learn that you're not supposed to back away. And that's why I decided to create All Girls Street Art Jam, because I felt like I have enough possibilities to do so and to support somebody else than just like do my art and that's it. Like, so I think we still need to normalize that type of thing and to create, like, even though I wish that we don't have to do it, that it's completely on a 50-50, but it's still there. But I think things are changing. I've made it for 20 years, so I can see it changing, but we just need to push.
I need to ask the audience who is here not connected to the street art scene to raise his hand. So everyone, one?
In the sense that you don't paint.
Yeah, or okay, I know you, so you know that you're connected. But just because I don't know all the faces, just to know, who are we talking to? So we talk to people and with people who know you and who understand you. So, I'm in completely minority position here because I'm out of your circle. From that side, Marta, you owned the streets for so many years, and your archive is like a historical legacy to the world, basically. From your memory of this legacy, so what were the things in this context that you saw with your eyes on this mean street of New York, still called the mean street?
Are we talking about male, female?
We can, because the subject is
I have
that
to
is
say
the subject.
that there used to be extremely few women that I would see painting on walls, and now there are lots. It's really gone from almost none to. And again, I'm with you. I don't ever want to be invited to some place just because I'm a girl, just to fill out some idea that there has to be a balance. But you won't find a street art festival today that doesn't have a few women in it. And that used to not be the case. And I know Aiko, there's one wall in New York, the House and Street wall. And weren't you the first female to paint that wall? It's a huge wall. And, it's not just that women, the pool of women that would have wanted to paint that wall was certainly a lot smaller than the pool of men who could paint that wall. And I think that's because they just didn't have the right role models. They just hadn't ever really thought about painting such a big wall. And so, as the mentoring part is important, because now I think young girls see these women painting and they realize that they can do it. I mean, it is a lot of work to paint these big walls, So.
Aiko, when you see your young colleagues coming to the scene, coming to the streets to paint, what are their stories? What is the aesthetic? What are the differences and things you see that female artists want to tackle in their arts today?
I don't know, like girls nowadays, I think they have more option. At the time, like my generation, I didn't have so much option to say things. But now, like younger generation has so much more message. I think which is great. Like in the beginning, I even don't know what to say. But I think we create this scene, and it's okay to say like who you are or what do you think, So I think it's changed a lot. And my hope is, I hope we can keep creating strong message, not just an image or atmosphere. I think graffiti and street art, the importance is a message. We create a message to public. So I hope younger generation succeeds this idea of street art and graffiti.
We see today, or it was in the history, also an important tool for the communities, right? To express themselves, maybe to find people who are there around them and approach and be there. You've mentioned the thing that you organized for female artists, Ashka. I want to ask you, for our societies to have street art as a tool in communities, how important it is. So I'm seeing our colleague Marco, who's doing another festival on the seaside. How important are these things being around for this new generation to see it somewhere, you know, where you wouldn't expect. It's not New York or Zagreb or big city, but some smaller communities for street art to reach them, and especially your aesthetics to reach smaller communities.
Are you asking me about you're asking about my work, or
I'm
about
asking about your work, but
the festival?
overall, how important it is, you know, to reach out to communities with street art.
I think it's, I mean, to everyone. I mean, graffiti and street art occupy public space, and nowadays I think like we need to really fight for our place in public space and who has the right to use it. So I think no matter like, is it like a bigger city or smaller community or smaller city, I think it's very important. Only like in the smaller communities where there's not too many, if there's no saturation of these type of things, I think then it's more visible that it actually changes something. Like when in like, I don't know, in capital cities, it's more kind of obvious that it's going to be there. But I think it's equally important because, you know, you change the public space the way you think you want it. And I think that's like the biggest thing, like, because like anybody can rent a billboard and put anything on it, and we have to debate over one wall to paint something on it. And I don't think it's fair. And I think like also street art is a great tool to actually like start some kind of change in a community or address something that is very important to it.
Maya, do you live from street art?
Yes.
So
Yes.
this is also an important part of it because you live from it in a sense. Is it difficult to be, you know, commissioned as a street artist today? I don't know what's the nicer word for that.
Yeah, commissioned. I mean, I think it's a struggle, like regardless of the gender, you know, like you have, like as an artist, you have to be your own manager, your social media manager, your lawyer, you're this, you're that, and anytime I think you mix an artist and like bureaucracy or whatever, it's like a nightmare. But with commissions, you know, you have to be, essentially you have to put yourself out there, and with social media it's a nice thing, yeah, of course, but then there's also millions of people doing it as well, so oftentimes, you know, people will shop around for artists, right? It's like, oh, hey, will you do this commission? But let me check with like another 10 people and see who will do it the cheapest. It's like tying back to being an artist in the Balkans, you know, I think 9 out of 10 times you're not paid what you're worth, and I always think that people are worth much more, even if you're being paid like very well. It's worth more. So yeah, with like commissions and stuff, I don't know if you're asking about like whether it's harder as a woman or anything. Not really. I don't think I've really felt that that I haven't gotten jobs because I'm a woman, but maybe sometimes you get like these. Like I've worked with a lot of male colleagues I worked with an ex-boyfriend for a long time, and a lot of times it's like I did everything essentially to prep for the job, and then you get to the job and the client is talking to him, you know, which is a little annoying and frustrating because you were essentially the brains of the commission, and then suddenly you are not because you show up and you're a woman. But I don't know. I mean, also on the other hand, with like feminism and things like that becoming like a trend, essentially, there's like businesses that want to work with women, even though they might not necessarily like your work, but it's like, oh, hey, let's hire a woman, which, you know, it's kind of becoming really weird because, again, like we mentioned a million times, I don't want to get opportunities because I'm a woman, but that seems to be happening, and then you can't, it's really hard to determine whether someone's like inviting you somewhere because they actually like you or because they're just like, oh, let's check the feminism box. So like now you don't really know what to think. You don't know what to think of like, oh, suddenly, you know, when they call it like pink washing, you know, like you don't want that to happen. Oh, sorry, Nika, you want to say something?
Like when we just came from Rotterdam, and there was also a girl talk. And one of the artists there said that she experiences it very often at festivals, that they hire like some big name male artists from around the world, and then they throw in some local girls that sometimes aren't really there yet, just because they don't want to pay plane tickets and hotels for the girls because they already have these male artists. Some said that. I don't know if you have that feeling, if that happens at events.
Yeah, I mean, it could be, on the other hand, they might be saying like, oh, it's an opportunity for the local female artists to paint next to a big artist, blah, blah, but it's also like, that's like the fine line. It's really hard to see if someone has good intentions or not, and like, I like to believe that people do, you know, but you never really know, like, and I'm not gonna like sit there and point fingers like, oh, this person was invited because they suck, you know, like, it's not for me to decide, but I like to think people have good intentions.
I have a question to the female artists here, because you organized an all-female event, and Marty and me, when we started working together, we organized a lot of events for B-girls, because we felt that they needed a safe space to like grow. And then I heard from the scene, from the hip-hop scene, the graffiti, B-girl, whatever we organized, that I was trying to split up the scene. That it was not about male and female, and that they were all like in it together, and I was splitting it up. And I said, well, I think they need a safe room to grow, a safe space. And in 2008, I organized the We Be Gods Festival in Berlin. It was like the biggest festival for women in hip hop in the world. We did that. And we invited like graffiti writers and dancers and rappers and DJs from all over the world and had a 1-month festival. And I felt that they needed that safe space then, and I would be interested if women still need that. I mean, each of the women that I know in my life has been abused in one way or another. I mean, I've been grabbed by the pussy the first time when I was 11, and then when I was 13 and 14 and 15 and 16. It just, so I think that women sometimes have a point of view and they have to overcome something extra. And I think that's why they might need more of a safe space than men do to grow. Do you think that's still necessary, or has the scene developed that we don't need that anymore?
I think it's both. Like you have the scene that kind of grew and evolved, and you have a lot of wonderful and really, really good female artists, like, and that's not for debate. Like you can say that we are now like at, I'm not saying maybe opportunity-wise or not, like, but there is more women who paint who decide to say like, okay, I can do this and then paint, you know. But still, I think like I got some comments like, why only women? Why can't we paint? Like, you know, and it's all like true joke and it's so cool, it's okay, like, you know. But I think like when you start talking to women, on paper it's all nice and fun. But when you start talking to your colleagues, then you realize that we all have more or less similar experience, and it's not very pleasant to talk about it. Some people don't want to talk about it, some women don't want to talk about it. Sometimes you're like, oh, me too, like I had to do this and this and this and this, like, and it's tiring, and you have to, there's this level of hypocrisy where you have to pretend that we are equal. Because you don't want to be the one, like, being like, hey, this is not cool, like, you know, and you're like, oh, this girl again, like, you know, it's like, and I mean, and that's...
She's hysterical.
Yeah, and not hysterical, but like, why do we have to bring that up again? Like, you know, I know it's not pleasant to talk about, I know it is boring, and I know it can be like a pain in the ass, but that's why we need to talk about it. And I mean, there's things going on, like, you know, that we don't want to look, and now, like, I mean, if you say, like, you know, feminism, it can kind of trigger like the wrong reaction.
By whom?
By whom? That's a good question. Like, you know, it's not. It's like it always needs to be like packed in like 3 different layers of stuff. I mean, I'm not packing it. For a very young age, people started asking me like, "Are you a feminist?" I was like, "Yes," like, you know, and then like I got this like, you know, I mean, label or whatever, but I didn't really care. So I think like we do need it, but in a different way. We need to kind of rethink what are we going to do. Like, you know, it's not like burn your bra anymore. Like, you know, I'm sorry. It's just like we need to do it. What are our actual needs? What do we need? Like, And this is how we want to create the world where do we want to live. And for that, you need to live it day by day. No matter amount of like girl jams and shit, like, you know, not gonna change that if you don't live it. And that's it. Like, I mean, you have much more experience and you've seen the scene from the very beginning, like in this sense, like it's unimaginable. And somebody needs to pave the way. Like, so I think now, like, we are paving the way. So somebody, like, you need to think in generation that will come, not just about you. So it's an effort for the future, I guess.
So I will give back question. Thank you so much, Nika, for doing this, because I was, you know, dancing around and wanted to bring it up later, because I saw everyone is, no, it's great, because everyone is like, no, okay, we don't want to be judged by female, we want to be equal, but it always gets to that at certain point, so thank you for this. So I want to give a question back maybe to three of you. You've mentioned it was at young age, you experienced it, you know, what have you seen while working happening to female street artists in that regard? Did you have any feedbacks, or they kept it for themselves, this kind of incidents, if there were this kinds of situations they experienced? Because
You know,
she explained
I
and you
actually
said.
do not remember any specific incident
Okay.
that comes to mind, and I do want to say, in my mind, the graffiti community has always welcomed somebody with skills. And if you can show your skill,
Yeah, I'm not
you
talking
can-
within the community, but as a female,
As a-
yes, photographer.
I don't remember any
Okay.
specific,
Nika, you?
nothing, but I don't have a good memory.
Okay. Maybe it's somewhere in the photos, you know, somewhere, I mean, in the detail. Yeah, Nika.
Have I heard from female street artists that they had problems with
Whomever.
male artists?
No, not necessarily.
I mean,
but,
like,
you
when-
know, she's
when
in
I-
the streets
when I-
painting, they say, "Oh, what a nice piece of ass." It's for me. It's
Oh,
a
that,
problem.
I mean, I
don't-
bet
I
that
don't
has
say to
happened.
that to
I
Slaven,
bet that
right?
has,
And we
catcalling
can go
has
further.
happened to anybody here. I bet that has happened. I don't remember a specific event. I can tell you what happened to me. I can't tell you what happened to other people.
Yeah, to you. I'm asking for you.
To me?
Yeah.
Well, I just told you. Some guy grabbed me by the pussy when I was 11. And then a guy, like, in the village, I come from a village, like a neighbor grabbed my pussy when I was 14. And I turned around and I smacked him in the face. And then my mom said, "You can't do that. What are the neighbors gonna say now? That you can't smack him in the face? He's drunk. You know, it's not his fault because he was drunk." And I mean that, and stories like that happen throughout all my life. Not anymore. Now I'm old and fat and nobody grabs my pussy anymore. Maybe now I wish somebody would, but now they're not doing it anymore. But I mean, yeah, I mean, like, and I was in Berlin. I was going to a panel where I was supposed to speak about sexism in urban youth cultures. That's what I was supposed to speak about. And while I'm on my way to the panel and thinking about what I say, a door of a bar, I live in Kreuzberg, flies open, a guy comes running out, another guy comes after him, tries to hold him by the jacket. The guy's like screaming, "All these fucking bitches! I hate all women, I want to kill them!" And then, you know, as a woman, what do? You walk to the other side of the street and you try to, like, get away as fast as possible. And that is a feeling, this feeling of fear, this feeling of, like, when you walk a dark street at night as a woman. And I mean, I'm big and strong, so I don't have a lot of fear, but I mean, we have that. Like, I just told Marty, like, that I'm getting new teeth. When I was 16 years old, a guy hit me in the face and broke 7 of my teeth. So now I gotta get them all redone. And shit like that happens. I mean, I don't really want to tell stories of other people. Some people, especially in the breaking scene, also have told me their stories, some women, but I can only tell my stories.
Aiko, if you want to share.
Talking about boys? Boys. I mean, like I'm 50 right now, so I can speak more openly. But when I was 20 and 30, I was pretty young Japanese girl. You said gentle. I guess my image is very gentle and naive. So what kind of guy doesn't want to have sex when he take me to some spot? Like, I'm having hard time to get a spot without having sex. That was my obstacle at the time. Like, I was painting with boys, but at the end of the night, everybody tried to hit on me. And it was the most difficult part. It was easier for me to paint, but it was difficult for me to say no, no, thank you. And also, I like 2 years ago, we had a really big group show in London, and majority of artists were guys. And I walked through this show, and I look at these artists like, oh, he used to hit on me, he used to hit on me, he used to hit on me. I had some little things with him, and I was like, oh my God. So that happened to me. So I think it's hard for women to just do paint in the middle of the night. I think, I don't know, how about you guys?
Well, I mean, I was never really afraid to go around like at night, but I guess that depends on where you live. But I did get punched in the face like for painting, like, and that was like, I mean, like the guy, I addressed him. That was the problem, because there was 2 other guys who painted, and I just said like, hey, let's just move away from this corner, because they wanted to know something about like what they paint. And I just said like, hey guys, like let's move away, like just, we're not standing in front of what we just painted. And he said like, can you see that you're only girl here and that you're only like, you're boringless. And I said like, fuck, and then we like got into this altercation and I got like punched right in the face. So I think like as a street artist, I guess like you need to accept like that there is a price that you're willing to pay for this shit like that we're doing. But I don't know, there is, I mean, if I did fight back, but that was not even close. So I don't know, I mean, there's a million different examples that I can give you, comments, on internet bullying. I get a lot of like bullying on internet because like there's like somebody's making fun for the whole scene, and they're making fun of the guys, and they're saying like you don't know how to paint shit, like, and for me it's always like very explicit, very sexual comments, even though I do not believe in sex shaming, so it's just stupid. But for me, nobody says like, they don't even say like, hey, she knows how to paint, but like, she, this and this. And that's it, like you just need to like, okay, whatever, like, you need to kind of realize, And again, I don't want to be the one being like, it only happens to me. Like, I think it's out there, only women don't want to talk about it because then you're that girl, like, so I don't know.
Maya, the last one.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this is why it's nice to have like all girls jams, because you develop kind of a thick skin over time. And again, I can't really speak that I have that much experience, but it's like in life, I guess, as a woman, you develop a thick skin, and sometimes you forget that certain things that happen to you actually hurt or, make you feel a type of way because you've just learned to handle it. Yeah, I mean, it's weird because like I only think about these things when asked. It doesn't weigh on me, but I feel that maybe it, like in a way it does, but you just gotta push it to the side because you're just like, I want to fucking paint. I don't really give a shit if I have, tits or a dick, and like I want to forget about any bad interactions that I had, or like, you are seen as an object a lot of the times. It doesn't matter what the fuck you wear. You could be wearing shorts, you could be wearing a tracksuit, you cocould be wearing a garbage bag for whatever, sometimes you just get someone who still sees you as, a sexual thing, whatever, even though you're there to paint. So I guess, again, you get like used to some types of comments, and then you just have learned how to reflect them pretty easily, but at the end of the day, it can be pretty exhausting because I didn't come here to, show off my ass. I came here to like show off my work, and like just because my back is turned, it's like I wish I could paint this way, you know. But like, oh, fuck it, I can't. I mean, I'll try, but again, it's like it doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. You're just a woman showing up to a graffiti jam and to someone that's exotic or whatever. So you could look whatever. Which like sometimes you get up out of bed, you look like shit, and someone's like, "Hey, girl," and you're like, "Holy," I mean, fuck. But no, I mean, on a real note, that gets exhausting. But then having an all-girls jam or something like that, it's like a breath of fresh air because you show up and no one's actually, you know that no one is thinking these thoughts, right? And like, it's just relaxing. It doesn't have to be all the time. It's just this one event, okay, where we can take a deep breath and be like, holy Jesus, no one is looking at me like anything. So, yeah, it pains me. It really pains me to sit here and listen to, like, right, there's 5 of us from all over the world, and like, all of us have similar experiences. It like breaks my heart, you know, like, because I would love to sit here and be like, oh, great, in Japan this doesn't happen, or like in New York or whatever, but like, it happens everywhere.
I think like we always get stuck on this topic. When I'm gonna be invited to the talk where we just talk about what we do, yes, not about how I feel as a woman. Me and Slaven were in Mostar a couple of weeks ago, and I cannot answer anymore what it feels like to be a woman in graffiti. It's the same, like, you know.
But Nika started this part, and he called me to just sit here. He was the one who formulated this panel.
I'm not saying to Slaven.
I also don't feel comfortable because I want to vomit, you know, also because of the subject, but it's not about me, it's you in the street art. So when we have journalism, I'll do my shit, so yeah.
It turns into this like little violin, like, and I think we all have here a lot to offer more than just like experience of fighting like the society and patriarchy in this way.
Absolutely,
so,
and I'll go with Aiko with this, you know, lace and rage behind the lace, and I'll open the floor to your colleagues who will ask about your work, probably not this. Yes, right, questions? No questions.
Yeah, I have a question for Marta. Like you started graffiti way back, you documented graffiti almost from the beginning.
I didn't start.
When it was illegal and everybody considered it vandalism. Nowadays, I mean, now we have like this, because for me, this mixing terms graffiti and street art, I think there is a difference. Nowadays, still, what is recognized in galleries, museums, blah, 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 it's the murals, the legal stuff, but the hardcore graffiti is still considered by society completely vandalism illegal. Like, what do you think happened in those almost 50 years or over 50 years?
You mean what turned it from illegal to legal?
No, like that still the illegal part is still considered vandalism. So like in 50 years we didn't. Well,
the thing is, the illegal part is vandalism. But I mean, it is vandalism. But I mean, to me, that is the most interesting part. The fact that people are willing to risk. They can risk their lives to go out and paint a train at night. Seriously. People are willing to risk going to jail. For art. And sometimes they're doing like incredible pieces on the train, and they can't even photograph the train because the train is buffed the next day. You know, maybe they didn't get a good picture that night, and here they are risking everything for something that can't be preserved. I mean, and that to me fascinates me. It's like true art because it can't be sold. You don't have collectors collecting these pieces off the trains. But on the other hand, look at this. I think this is incredible that these pieces can be put here in this museum and people can look at them and really look at them, because you can't look at a piece on a train. You don't have, it's moving, it's either moving or it's buffed, or it's at night when it's so dark that you can't see it. Of course, the photograph, you can look at the photograph, but I have no objection to museums or, walls like Wynwood walls, putting up walls, and if the artists want to paint them, I think this is a wonderful selection, a very different selection of different artists here. So, you know, I think it's a good thing. And also you were talking about preservation. This is an incredible worldwide art movement that I think is under-recognized by museums, say. And how are they going to preserve it? Well, they can preserve these. They can preserve the photographs if we archive them. They can't preserve illegal walls. Well, some people do try to cut Banksy pieces out of the walls, but I don't. So, I mean, how are we going to talk about this in 100 years? Unless there's some mechanism for preservation, which is photography. I mean, mostly it's photography is how we're going to talk about it. But also, I mean, I think these pieces are going to be preserved, aren't they? I think they're, yeah. And I mean, I just think that's a great effort. I'm all for it. Anybody else?
Me, I have a question for Aiko. Some interesting question. How was working with Banks?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. Is it too much? Sorry.
No, I try not to talk about him because.
No.
But let me tell you one thing. Like 2005, that was my kind of breakthrough. Like I used to paint all boys, then no, I'm not gonna paint with boys. That was too much stress, and I wanna do my own thing. And he was the one of few artists, male artists, who helped my career. Yeah, other boys, they didn't really give me any chance. They kind of stopped talking to me, and they did their own boys club. But he was only few artists tried to help me, my career, like come to England, you can paint bunny, we should make a print so that you can pay your own bill. So he was a really good supporter.
Thank you.
And that's why I respect him, and I don't want to talk about him like who he is or what he does. I have a bunch of photographs and document at the time. But because I was also camera girl, my early career was filming everyone. Because at the time no one had a camera, but I had a camera and video camera. That's why boys loved me. Like, Aiko, come with us and shoot us, make us look good. So that was my beginning. So between 2000, 2005, I used to film everyone, and he was one of them. But I don't want to reveal his identity just because of him, because he helped me so much.
Yeah, I just wanted to hear your experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
So he's not a girl.
Next question. Come on, please.
Out of all the trains that you took, all the pieces that you took pictures of that got buffed, how many do you think you saved in like your archives?
Well, both the book Subway Art was a collaboration with both me and Henry. I think Henry said that he has over 500 different pieces, and I'm in the process of archiving mine now. I'd say, I mean, they weren't all wonderful pieces, but I have several hundred.
So you saved a lot.
Yeah, and there is a new book called Spray Nation, and that book, it comes in a box set with another book called The Outtakes. And in the outtakes, these were pictures that I didn't particularly like as photographs, but there were many, many, many different trains. Because I would stand there for hours taking pictures of trains. And I didn't want to publish too many pictures that had the same background, because I thought it was a boring picture. But in the outtakes of this new book, there are hundreds of trains with the same background. And a lot of the writers have come up to me and they're very happy. They did not know that there was a photo of their train.
Yeah.
So,
Also, what's your favorite line in New York?
favorite line?
Like to take pictures.
Well, I lived on the west side, and so I used to go to the Bronx on the west side, and so my favorite line was the 2.
Okay.
The 2 and the 3. But I mean, there were a lot of graffiti out in Queens that neither Henry nor I photographed, and those writers are always complaining to us that we miss their work. But you know, there are other archives out there that are surfacing now. Photography was always an important part of graffiti train writing. The writers always tried to take their own pictures, often with a cardboard camera. And there are other archives that are being published. Oh, and I'm starting a library in Berlin at Urban Nation, a graffiti and street art library, and we're collecting all the zines, the books, everything we can, so that
This is an open call for everyone who has something
yeah,
to
really.
say.
And I mean, for example, there was a wonderful book that I saw 2 days ago, a black book of Zagreb black book pieces, and I asked about it, and it was given to me, and I'm sending it directly to the library, and I think this is going to be great in the future. It's a research library, because if it weren't a research library, the books would just walk out.
Please, another one.
One more for all of you. Is there any other museum in the world that has your works preserved in the museum forever? Except Zagreb
Let's
City
start
Museum.
from the young ones.
Yeah.
No.
Sashka.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, maybe some in China. I have a museum in Japan. It's a wood block museum, wood block trains museum. And I don't know, maybe here.
I have a few pieces in Urban Nation in the new show, and they're going to preserve those, but it has nothing to do with street art or graffiti, really. It's more about gentrification.
This is also, we know.
I only have some photos in the Museum of the City of New York, and they've been very good about having graffiti exhibitions. But even though I would like my photos in other museums, no interest from
This
anyone.
is, I think, also a good thing to pick up from here as Museum of the City of Zagreb and, Slaven and the whole crew that organized this. Basically, it is kind of pioneering here, so maybe this can also be a call to spread around from Zagreb. Another question, please? Come on. Ladies, again you.
I have one sentence.
No, I see that she's keen to.
sorry, I'm just so wow. Zagreb City Museum is more than welcome your works here, your photos, if you are willing to leave them in the Zagreb City Museums. Not all, but maybe some of them. We are really looking forward.
Please give this initiative a round of applause coming to them. Thank you.
Well, thanks for having us.
So thank you really for this wonderful evening that we shared some things that are difficult, but we still have some new ideas because, times are changing, accessibility is here, what Marta mentioned with social media, things do change and evolve, but it can always come and join us. Okay, he had enough. So really, thank you all for being here. Thank you for your fantastic work, and I really think that we need to connect more different spaces and places and people, because the augmentation of this kind of power is also something that moves mountains or just little rocks and stones in this world. Thank you so much. Round of applause. Marta Cooper, Nika Kramer, Alexandra, TKV, and Zmaja. Thank you for being here.